Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming to you from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Ray Ora.
Hey, everyone.
Jonathan Voico's here.
Good morning.
And most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making this little show part of your day. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a bunch of predetermined topics. Then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, question, observation that you'd like us to address, go ahead and use our tip link. Anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. Now, if you're watching live right now, you can send in a question there. But the great thing about the tip link is that even if you're watching this show later on in the day when we're not live anymore, you can still use it to send in a question and we'll just get around to answering it on the next episode. Also, want to remind you guys that the John Campea Show podcast is actually, well, primarily a podcast. If you need your daily fix of the John Campea Show, but you can't be in front of a YouTube video, maybe you're driving, you're at the gym, you're out for a run, good news, there is the audio-only version in podcast form. Just go onto your favorite podcasting app of choice, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever, search for the John Campea Show podcast, and subscribe to it today so it's there when you need it. Ray just saw the Thunderbolts trailer.
Oh my God, how come I didn't hear about it, man? I'm so excited now. It looked really good from what we saw.
It does look really good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for some reason, for those of you who didn't know this, at D23, they had some things that they showed the audience, and then they immediately put online. But then they showed some stuff to the audience that they didn't put online. They do that all the time. But normally when they're at like Comic-Con or something and doing a presentation, they have a rule that no phones, any kind of stuff. They let people have their phones out. And like they knew people were going to record it and put it up online. So a lot of this stuff is now up and online.
And I find it strange because usually the stuff that they don't put online usually feels like unfinished trailers or like maybe a sizzle reel. This feels like, it felt like a finished trailer. Like,
yeah, they're going to drop this officially, I think, soon, like relatively soon. Thunderbolts is still a long ways off. But I mean, I think they're probably going to drop it soon. Anyway, guys, question is, what are we here to talk about today? We're not here to talk about Thunderbolts, even though the trailer is out there, but we do have a lot of stuff lined up. So let's get things started and start with this. A brand new trailer for Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power has just dropped. Now, some of you will remember a couple of weeks ago at San Diego Comic-Con, they dropped the first big official trailer for Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. And it was surprisingly great. Now, you guys, if you followed me for any period of time, you know that I was very excited for the Rings of Power show. And I was disappointed. I don't think it's nearly as bad as some people were trying to make it out to be, but it wasn't good. And it let me down, and I was disappointed with it. So to be quite frank and honest with you, while I've always thought that there were some strengths there that they could build on, and maybe if they could correct their weaknesses, maybe they could make something better, I haven't really been all that excited or looking forward to season 2 of Rings of Power, to be frank. But then that Comic-Con trailer dropped. And I didn't watch it for the first few days because I'm just not interested. But I had so many of you guys writing into me and saying, John, you got to see this trailer. So I finally watched it and I was blown away. New trailer came out today. It's awesome. The trailer is awesome. Now, before I say anything else about why I think it's awesome and how awesome I think the trailer is, let's give the big disclaimer, of course, that we've seen lots of stuff that have had great trailers. Hell, I thought the Secret Invasion trailers looked great. How did that turn out? Spoiler alert, not so good. So they dropped this trailer at Comic-Con and it was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. They dropped this trailer and I thought, okay, now we'll really see. Can they make this, still make this look really good? And man, I'll tell you what, they crushed it. It looks fantastic. That doesn't mean the show will be fantastic, but it absolutely looks great. And one of the things that they mentioned at the end of the trailer that I didn't realize was that they're going to launch it, not with one, not with two, but they're going to launch in a couple of weeks with 3 full episodes. Now, I love the idea of launching a season or a series with multiple episodes. Not because, I don't think streamers should drop all the episodes at once, but I love dropping multiple episodes because you can't really get a feel for something with one episode, right?
Right.
And so dropping 2 or 3 episodes to start, that allows you on your first sit down to get a real feel for what's the season going to be like, what's the show going to be like, all this kind of stuff. And it shows a little bit of confidence at any rate.
Maybe just the first season, like our expectations were way too high. I mean, having a series based on the Lord of the Rings and then hearing how expensive the series was, maybe we went in there expecting a little too much. Maybe now that we know what happened in season 1, maybe season 2 will benefit off of that.
Look, I do not deny that I went into season 1 with ludicrously high expectations.
I did too.
That were, quite frankly, impossible to meet. That said, even if you take that out of the equation, I still think season 1 was a disappointment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Again,
It was boring a little bit, and it was just, it lingered and meandered. You didn't like anybody. Like, I didn't like one, I liked the dwarfs and that whole relationship of
the
elf
dwarf and
dwarf.
Elrond. That was the
Elrond.
best part of the show.
Everyone else, I was like, I don't like these people at all.
I also like that character that escaped from the orcs. The I think the black guy. I think he's
The elf.
Yeah. I like that character.
He was okay.
Now,
The troll looks great in this trailer. That troll that they showed in the trailer.
Oh yeah, everything in the trailer looked great. I mean, it really, really did, and I thought it captured a great tone. I think it captured something that I think a lot of people like myself and others felt was lacking from the first season.
Yeah. It's
Now again, we are just talking about a trailer.
yeah.
Right? We're not sitting here saying that the season is going to be way better than season 1. We won't know that until we sit down to watch it. But if we're just talking about the trailer was great. And it has got me, I'm not going to say it's got me excited again. I'm not going to say it's got me excited, but it's got me interested again.
15 days.
Because I had lost, is it just 15 days now?
29th.
15 days. And it's now got me excited, not excited, but it's at least got me interested again. Because I had lost so much interest that when they dropped the trailer at Comic-Con, I didn't even watch it. I spent almost like half a week before I finally sat down and hit play on it.
Yeah.
But now I got to say the trailers have at least have me interested again.
And these drop on Friday, right? If I remember. I believe the episodes drop on Friday. At least it gives us something to watch.
When does it officially drop? The 29th?
29th.
Well, look up on your calendar.
Yeah, I got
What day is the 29th?
Mm-hmm.
Fridays would be a good day for it. I mean, as long as
It's
they don't.
Thursday.
Thursdays, okay. As long as they don't drop them at midnight. Because, man, that would suck if they dropped it at 3 episodes at midnight and have to stay up till like 4 in the morning watching them.
Amazon usually drops around
At
6.
6.
Yeah.
Usually at
Specific.
6.
Yeah, that's what they did with The Boys.
At least we know if we're in or not with the 3 episodes.
Yes,
I'm
with
pretty sure we'll know
absolutely.
if we're on board or not.
Yeah.
All right, guys, question is for you. What did you think of the new trailer that just dropped today for Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power? Set aside whatever you thought about season 1 for a second. What did you just think of the trailer? I was disappointed in season 1, but I got to say, I think these trailers have looked great. Hopefully they can capture some of that. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. That down. Let's move on to this, shall we? One of my absolutely favorite things that has been on television in the last couple of years, and I think the best thing DC has ever put on television, all due respect to the Arrowverse, all due respect to Smallville, which I loved, but Peacemaker, a show that I said was a stupid idea, and the first trailer looked dumb, and I had no idea why they were making this show.
And he killed Rick Flag.
Well, that was Ray's problem.
Yeah.
Ray was very
They
upset
lost already from the beginning.
that they're doing a show about a guy who killed Rick Flag. But, man, I fell in love with this show from the very first, well, not even from the first episode, from the opening credits, which is, to this day, the greatest opening credits of any television show in history. I don't know how they're going to top that with season 2. They can't top it, but maybe they can get close. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't that show come out? Did that show come out in 2021 or 2022? Ray, look that up.
Yeah.
Because at the earliest, it was 2022. And that means it's now...
22.
It was 22.
Yeah.
So it's already been a couple of years since that show was out. They just were filming it now. And I've been under this automatic assumption that this show was going to come out in 2025. Hopefully, fingers crossed, maybe even by the end of 2024. Well, John Cena was just interviewed, and he was asked to give some details about the show. And of course, he's very, very tight-lipped on it. But he said this, and it's got some people excited, but it actually has me worried. From Screen Rant, they wrote this. Cena clarified that this release window expectation is the only Peacemaker Season 2 detail he can share, leaving concrete dates and story details out of the picture for now. His full quote is here. John Cena said, "I'm hopeful in saying next year." And that's about the only Peacemaker question I can answer. I'm hopeful that it will come out next year. All right. Let's just put this into context. I've been operating under the admittedly baseless assumption that 2025 was automatic with maybe a hopeful chance late 2024. Because if it were to come out this year, it's 2 years after the last Peacemaker. If it comes out in 2025, like I've just kind of been assuming, that means 3 years. But correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Tell me if you've had a different experience. I feel like the last couple of years, whenever I've heard a showrunner or something say, we're hopeful to have this out by X date, it never makes it by that date. Like whenever they, well, we're hopeful to have this out by 2023, doesn't come out till 2024. You know what I mean? I just feel like that's been my experience. I'm sure that's not 100% true. I'm just saying that's kind of been my experience. And with John Cena not saying, well, it'll be out by 2025. No, he says, I'm hopeful in saying that it'll come out sometime next year. That tells me, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but that kind of tells me that there is a very real possibility that this show doesn't come out till 2026.
Could be.
I mean, obvious reasons. James Gunn has been working on Superman, and if he's going to helm this second season and he wants it,
but he's not. He directed
not.
No, he wrote it. He wrote the second season.
Oh, okay.
And I think he's directing a couple of episodes, and I think he's already directed the episodes that he's directing.
Okay, well now then
I'm wondering if it has something to do with, like, the DCU has to be established for the storyline of this.
All right.
So it can't come before certain things. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Now Moonarch in the live chat saying James Gunn said Peacemaker wouldn't come out before Superman. Yes, understand. But there's a long time. There's a long ass time between when Superman comes out and the end of the year. That's a long, big window.
Maybe this will be like a January, February 26, early 26.
Yeah, I mean, listen, or it could very well, maybe it is 2025, and he's saying, well, he's just being vague by saying, I'm hopeful, but I'm hopeful tells me they are aiming for 2025.
Mm-hmm.
But saying he's just hopeful tells me they think there is a chance that it may not come out to 2026. And again, if it doesn't come out to 2026, that's 4 years. 4 years in between seasons. Come on. I mean, so I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that we are talking about King Daddy Goat saying, well, it'll definitely come out before Blade. Yes, I think we can safely say
Thanks.
Peacemaker Season 2 will definitely come out before Blade. But I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that we're going to get it in 2025 sometime. It's because even then, that's too long. 3 years in between seasons? Come on. Now, granted, I understand DC's gone through some turmoil. They've ended a cinematic universe. They're starting a brand new cinematic universe. A whole new leadership. I get it. But even understanding that, 3 years in between, that's too long. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? How do you interpret what John Cena means when he says, I'm hopeful it'll come out next year? To you, does that basically mean, yeah, it's going to come out next year? Or are you kind of like me where you're worried that saying he's hopeful means it may not come out till 2026? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we still have a couple of other things to talk about, including Mike Colter seems to have changed his tune and is now saying he's open to coming back into the MCU as Luke Cage. And Kraven the Hunter dropped a brand new trailer this morning. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's freaking awesome. Anyway, we're going to talk about that and a few things more. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode, our friends at Miracle Made. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Miracle Made. Guys, it's hot outside and your nighttime bedroom temperature has a huge impact on your sleep quality. So if you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Miracle Made sheets are inspired by NASA and use silver-infused fabrics that are temperature regulating so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. There are just so many things that make these sheets so fantastic. We already mentioned the self-cooling properties for better quality sleep, but they're also self-cleaning. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. So go to trymiracle.com/Campea. That's TRYMIRACLE.com/Campea to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code Campea at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. So upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/Campea and use the code Campea to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/Campea to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. And thank you to our friends at Miracle Made for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Ever since Kevin Feige made the decision to scrap the production on Daredevil Born Again when it was almost done filming and go back to the drawing board and change directions entirely, saying, okay, it was going to be a brand new Daredevil, but now it's going to be a continuation of the Netflix universe. A lot of people have started questioning and wondering, what about all the other members of the Defenders? What about Iron Fist? What about Jessica Jones? And what about Luke Cage? Well, Colleen Wing is the one I really think about, but what about Luke Cage? Now, Luke Cage was a show that, I'll be honest with you, I thought was the second worst series of the Netflix Marvel stuff. The worst one was obviously Iron Fist. I think the second worst one was Luke Cage. Now, the first half of season 1, when you had Mahershala Ali as Cottonmouth, that was actually really good. But as soon as Cottonmouth left, something just went downhill, and the second half of season 1 was not so good, and season 2 was not so good. But even though I don't think the show was all that good, Mike Colter as Luke Cage was inspired casting. He was great in the role. Now, some of you guys may remember that not long ago, Colter was asked about, coming back as Luke Cage into the MCU and stuff like that, and he sounded pretty negative about it. He quite frankly, did not sound like he was interested at all. Right. Talking about focusing more on what he's doing right now and all that kind of stuff. And frankly, it sounded like he had zero interest. Well, now that we've had D23 and a big Daredevil Born Again trailers dropped and everybody's getting excited about it again, Mike Colter was asked about it again. And now he's sounding a lot more positive about it. This comes to us from CBR, who wrote this. Speaking with comicbook.com at the red carpet premiere of The Union, Mike Colter confirmed that he would be open to seeing Luke Cage headlining a new series on Disney+, similar to how Charlie Cox's Daredevil is coming back to the small screen with Daredevil Born Again. Colter said this, I would love to explore it if they found some story, some way, somewhere to take it. And I'm happy that Charlie Cox and those are getting it rebooted, but I don't have any idea if Luke Cage is getting rebooted. I'm not holding anything back, Colter said. The actor added that he is happy Marvel Studios decided to keep the Netflix/Marvel shows canon, noting that it was the, quote, right move. They should have never tried to reboot it. No, I don't know what that was about. I'm like, well, yeah, duh. It was not broke, so don't fix it. So now Colter is singing a totally different tune. Now he's saying, I would love to do it if they came up with the right story. I'm in. The question is, will they do it? Now, I think I've made it abundantly clear. I would love to see. That's a handsome son of a bitch. Mike Colter, I would love to see him back. I thought he played the character perfectly.
Right.
I thought he was great. I think in the right story, this character works much better. I just don't think they gave him the right stories in the first couple of seasons of Luke Cage, to be honest. But you bring him back, I think it could work really well. Here's the problem, though. The problem is, Bob Iger's already talked about how they're going to cut back on how much they produce. And he's saying that while the MCU is adding the Fantastic Four, the 10,000 characters associated with the X-Men properties, Deadpool, and now Daredevil, and at minimum, Punisher.
Mm-hmm.
So while Iger is saying we are going to cut back on the amount of stuff we produce, they've already got everything they've got, and they're adding an entire flood of new characters. Question becomes, is there room for Luke Cage? Like, I certainly don't think there's room for a Luke Cage standalone Disney Plus series.
There's room for him in a Daredevil down the line.
Yeah.
That's the key, right? That if there is any place for, because listen, they're also cutting back on the amount of Disney Plus shows they're going to do. So I don't think there's any room for a Luke Cage series. But if there is going to be a spot, I think you nailed it, Jonathan. It's going to be him popping up in Daredevil Born Again Season 2.
And even opens the door for Iron Fist and Jessica Jones, but as in not in solo series, but within the Daredevil universe.
Yeah, now, that brings that up again. Does anybody think we're going to get Iron Fist back?
I mean, if Shang-Chi is like, if they announce the second movie, maybe there might be something for him there, but I don't
nobody liked Iron Fist.
Yeah, but you know
That was
what?
the problem. Like, nobody liked him.
Iron Fist, the character, is a great character. I think you could do him correctly. Again, they fell into this weird trope where series try to make the main character just so resistant to being a hero, or just like, oh, I just don't want it. I don't want it. You know, it's like, and then every once in a while you get that glowing fist, but it's like, oh, come on, just like step into the world already. Let's get there.
And that's the only character I see that they actually radically change in order for people to forget the Netflix Iron Fist. That's the only one out of the whole group I think should come in as a completely different outfit, this and that.
I agree.
What was the guy's name who played Iron Fist? Finn?
Finn.
Something Finn.
Someone in the chat. He was in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I'm freezing on the guy's name. But look, the problem wasn't the actor.
I know.
Finn Jones. Dylan Fernando in the live chat said, Finn Jones wasn't the problem.
No, not at all.
The problem was a terribly written thing, and nobody liked it. So a lot of people saying, "Oh, just recast it." Recasting doesn't fix the problem. So I don't know, but anyway, that's that. Then there's Jessica Jones. I'm one of the very few people. I'm the odd person out. I didn't like Jessica Jones, so I'm way more interested in Jessica Wing. Is that?
Yeah.
Oh, from Iron Fist.
Right.
Put her in. She was great. Loved her. But it's going to be interesting to see if they do bring back Luke Cage. Does he get his own property? I don't think so. Does he just pop up in somebody else's property? Maybe. Maybe they're going to be amongst the collection they bring in for Secret Wars. Who knows? Guys, question is for you. What do you think? Oh, people in live chat are reminding me. I got her real name and her character's name. It's Colleen Wing. The actress's name is Jessica Henwick. I was calling her Jessica Wing. Anyway, what do you guys think about this? Mike Colter, who I think is a great Luke Cage, is saying now that he would love to come back and play the role. Do you think that can happen? Would you be interested in all? If so, do you think it would be in his own series, or do you think it would be adding to the montage of other characters appearing in other shows? Maybe a Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Kraven the Hunter. hot on the heels of global phenoms, Madam Web and Morbius,
Yeah.
Sony Pictures is proud to present Kraven the Hunter.
Kraven.
Now listen, I've said for a long time, I've got some belief in this project, mainly because Ricky Tiki Taki, or whatever the guy's name is, what's Kick-Ass's name again? Every
Aaron
single
Taylor
time.
Johnson.
Aaron Taylor Johnson. I forget his name
Ricky
every single
Tiki
time it
Taki.
comes up.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Ricky Tiki Taki.
That's so
Aaron
close.
Taylor Johnson.
Nailed it.
He's great in everything he's in. I mean, he just is. Every time he's in something, he's great. The fact that he chose to do this, he just did an interview recently, said, listen, if I didn't think there was something here that I think the audience would love, I wouldn't have done the movie. I wouldn't do the movie. So, I mean, that sounds good. But even though Sony gave us Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Venom, which I love Venom, Venom 2, which I liked. I didn't think it was as good as Venom 1.
It wasn't
but I
an
liked it.
abomination, though.
What's that?
Like, it wasn't an abomination.
No,
It was-
I like 2. It was a step down from 1, but I like 2. But the last 2 movies they've given us is Morbius and is Madam Web. Now, the first trailer for Kraven came out during CinemaCon,
Right.
and I liked it. I didn't think it was like awesome, but I liked it. It got a lot of discussion going. Some people liked it. Some people didn't like it so much, whatever. But I still maintain that I have some belief in this movie. Maybe it's naive. Maybe it's naive belief, but it's belief nonetheless. They dropped a new trailer. And I don't care what anybody says.
It brought the yuck.
The new trailer's fucking awesome. Again, it's listen, I thought the trailer for Morbius was good. The trailer for Morbius was a really good trailer. Ended up being a piece of garbage movie. Maybe that's what happens here too. Fine, we can't talk about that until the movie comes out. For now, we've got the trailer. And the trailer was great. I don't know what trailer company they hired to put this thing together, but they did a masterful job. And they're trying to piggyback on 2 different things. Number one, they're clearly trying to piggyback on the popularity of Deadpool and the hyperviolence and the R-rated comic book thing right now, because this trailer is loaded with violence.
Yeah.
Like, loaded with violence.
Yeah.
R-rated violence.
There was a couple points I was like, ugh.
Yeah. It's like, hey, I'm just going to stab you in the neck now. Bum,
Yeah.
bum, bum, bum. It's like a lot of very, very dark violence. So,
Like
clear-
bear traps on your head? Clank.
Yep, not so much. So they're trying to piggyback on the popularity of Deadpool and the success it's had with the R-rated, hyperviolence, all that kind of stuff. Smart move. The second thing they very sneakily were trying to piggyback on is Logan. Because, of course, the Logan trailer, which is in the discussion for the best movie trailers of the last 10 years. I hurt myself
Oh, yeah, I was going to say.
today to
It's Johnny
see
Cash
if
in there.
I still... You put a little Johnny Cash
Yep.
in your trailer? They did the exact same thing. Different Johnny Cash song, but that slower, somber, almost Hello Darkness, My Old Friend kind of atmosphere with all the brutal violence going on. So whoever and I don't know which trailer house in LA that they hired to put this trailer together, but the mixture of that piggybacking on the Deadpool violence was a very smart move, and kind of piggybacking on the feel that they created with the Logan trailer, also a very smart move, ended up coming together for what I thought was a fantastic trailer. Now, again, I've said it already this show. Let me say it again. The Morbius trailer was really good. And it was. It was. I haven't changed my mind about how good the Morbius trailer was. The Morbius was a good trailer. It did not equate to a good movie. So here we are now with this hyperviolent, R-rated, pretty damn slick looking trailer. So the question is, and this is the question I've asked all along, with Kraven, what Sony product are we getting? Are we getting the Sony product that made Across the Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse, Venom, the original Spider-Man movies, or are we getting the Sony product that gave us Morbius, Madam Web, Spider-Man 3? You know, which one are we getting?
I think it's those, but maybe it's the best product of those. So it's the top.
So you don't have a ton of faith in this one.
I think it's amongst those creators, but I think it's the top of the pile for those creators.
Listen,
So,
they got a really good director in J.C. Chandor to direct it. I really like him.
but here's my problem. I think this is like the DCEU. People are so done with this that they don't care if it's going to be a good movie. Like The Flash was a good movie, but no one went to see it. They were done with the DCEU.
Fair enough. Like right now, I have no idea if anybody's going to go see it. Right now, that's not my question, though. Like, I agree 100%. I don't know that this is going to do much at the box office. Let's just be clear.
Yeah.
My question right now, though, is it going to be good? And I got to tell you, I would not bet $5 on this going to be good, but I'll be there opening day.
I feel like it's going to have a good first and second act, and the third act is going to fall apart. It's going to get goofy. That's my fear.
You know, and sometimes Sony fails when they just don't concentrate on the movie itself, and they're always trying to connect things. I think that's
my God, yeah.
I think they're always looking at the finish line and not concentrating.
No.
on
They're looking at the next race instead of the finish line.
Their end game is more important than the current thing that they're working on. It's like they're trying to connect things so they get to that money pit like No Way Home.
Yeah, but you're not going to get there unless you focus.
Yeah, so that's where I think they failed with a bunch of these movies. I'm hoping this is good, and I hope it's self-contained. Concentrate on the character first. Worry about connections later.
100%.
Here's
let's not forget this too. Talking about getting ahead of themselves and looking towards the next race instead of the finish line. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to everybody. I know everybody's trying to purge this from their memory, but how can we not talk about that Morbius post-credit scene with Michael Keaton?
right.
Hey, you're that guy. Hey, you're that guy. Maybe we should team up. Well, that makes no sense. Doesn't matter. Oh my God, that was so bad. But again, to Ray's point, it kind of highlights exactly what has kind of been their Achilles heel in trying to. They're so concerned with trying to build a huge cinematic universe, they're not focusing on just making a really good, solid, quality individual product.
It's like Jurassic Park, but you never stop to think why.
Yeah, you're always
Should
about
you
the
do it?
coulda, not about the shoulda.
The violence and having it take place in like the safari and stuff like that makes an interesting me thinking of all the types of kills this guy is gonna do with the different.
Well, we've already got a
weapons.
taste of it.
Yeah,
The old log splitter trick.
The log splitter thing hurt every time I watched it. It's just, can you feel that? If you feel it,
Ride it.
All right, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? Like, I'll straight up say, I think this trailer was absolutely fantastic. Well, so was the Morbius trailer. So I don't know. We'll see. But the trailer itself is great. Did you guys have a chance to see it? If so, what did you think? And if you did like the trailer, has it moved the needle for you at all? I'm still not willing to put money down on betting that this is going to be a good movie. But listen, I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you I'm even more interested in watching it now than I was before. However you guys feel about this, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's now move on to the most important part of our show, which is taking your live comments and questions. Again, if you have a comment or question, go ahead and use the tip link. But before we get to those things, though, we're going to take another second to thank another sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at Gametime. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Gametime. My wife Ann and I love going to events, whether they're comedy shows, concerts, an LA Lakers game. I mean, just the other night we went to go see Ronnie Chang and it was awesome. We love having these new experiences and new memories. And our sponsor Gametime makes getting tickets for concerts and events faster and easier, even if you don't buy tickets right away. Because prices on the Gametime app actually go down the closer you get to the show start time. With killer last minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying event tickets. I couldn't believe how easy and most importantly, intuitively, the entire app works. Finding the event I was looking for couldn't have been easier. The way it lays out the map of the venue, letting you know exactly where the seats are that you're looking for, and how easy the process was to choose and buy those tickets. So don't worry if you think you're too late to get tickets to that big event you and your friend want to go to. They have last minute deals. Save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, whatever. So guys, take the guesswork out of buying concert tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code CAMPEA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CAMPEA, CAMPEA, for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. And thank you to our friends at Gametime for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's get into your questions here, shall we? Jonathan, what we got up first?
Brian O'Connor says, hey, crew, where does Man of Steel rank within James Cameron's filmography? It's kind of an odd pairing, but I guess if
Man
you
of
were
Steel
to take,
is not a James Cameron film. What are we talking about?
yeah, I guess if you were to take James Cameron's films and rank them, and also Man of Steel, because he knows you like Man of Steel a lot, I guess how does that compare to like? But I mean, that's really hard to.
That's a crazy question.
Because first of all, Man of Steel is not a part of James Cameron's filmography. I don't know. That's a apples and oranges, apples and spaceships kind of question.
If you were to take Steven Spielberg, where does Inception?
If you were to take Inception, how does that rank for you amongst Jim Carrey films?
Yeah.
I honestly don't know how to answer that.
And who cares what it ranks?
Well, we like Man of Steel.
It's one of your it's one of your favorite movies, so we'll just say that.
All right, what's next?
Logan Vaughn says, oh no, we read that one. That's right. C. Wilson says, as a fellow Canadian that enjoys hockey, if you were to cast Don Cherry in the MCU Star Wars, which character would you have him play?
Nick Fury.
Oh, there you go.
Don Cherry would be Nick Fury. Hey, let me tell you something. It'll be, Don. Only Canadians will know what we're talking about, but yeah, Don Cherry would be Nick Fury, the MCU for sure.
And you know what? I actually started getting into hockey this year, like this past.
That's right, you did.
I started asking questions. I started understanding some parts of it, and it's a little more exciting to me. Maybe I'll watch a couple more games next season.
You should come to a Kings game or two.
I don't want to get hit by a puck.
You won't get hit by a puck. I guarantee you that.
If anyone did, it would be me.
It would be
I don't
you.
see how they have the glass up.
All right, what's next?
Zach Delian says, hey, John and crew, I've seen Deadpool and Wolverine 4 times now. Did you know in X-Men 2, there's a scene with Logan, Pyro, Iceman, and Rogue escaping the mansion. Pyro turns the radio on, and it's Bye 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 playing. Wolverine sighed and turned it off.
Yep, yeah, we actually talked about that on the show a few weeks ago. Yeah, I'm not going to click. I don't think that, honestly, I 100% believe that is just pure coincidental. I don't think that had anything to do with the song choice for starting Deadpool and Wolverine, but it is a very cool little piece of trivia. Absolutely. All right, what's next?
Victor says, do you think the prequels could have been improved by having a constant villain besides Palpatine throughout the trilogy, like Vader in the OG trilogy? Yes, Maul is cool and all, but I think a character like Dooku had more potential given his backstory.
No, you could have put in a one consistent villain through the 3 films. It doesn't change. They're just bad movies. They're badly written, horrible dialogue. It's just they're terrible movies. And just having a consistent villain, and you can make the argument that Palpatine is the consistent villain throughout it. He's the guy behind the guy. I mean, all the way through, becoming more obvious, towards the end. So no, I really don't think the problem with the prequels are the basic fundamentals of movie making. And that wasn't going to be fixed by just having a different villain, I don't think. All right, what's next?
CM Water says, rewatched Moon Knight recently. How much do you want to bet that it takes place outside of Earth 616? I say that because compared to something like Shang-Chi, its world doesn't feel like it's filled with superheroes, nor like half of life was ever gone.
Well, look, there's a theory out there that all the post-Endgame movies happen in different Earths. That Shang-Chi happened in a different Earth. That Eternals happened in a different Earth. That, there's a theory going around out there. But I don't think that's the case with Moon Knight. I mean, if it is in general, then Moon Knight would be a part of it, but I don't think that's the case. I think Moon Knight was just a very well-told, actually it wasn't all that good, but was just a standalone kind of story, much like Shang-Chi was. And it really is no different than Shang-Chi, other than the fact that a couple of little references dropped here and there in Shang-Chi is really the only difference. And Shang-Chi was awesome, whereas Moon Knight was a little bit disappointing. It had some good episodes, though. I mean, I think Moon Knight definitely had some good episodes. And it came right down to the finale. Like, I remember, for me, the finale was going to make or break the show. And it broke it. But, yeah, I don't think it's in another universe unless all of them have been in a different universe. All right, what's next?
Ty Talks TV says this year is R-rated comic book season. Deadpool, Joker, and Kraven. And OMG, we are finally getting the Rhino that Andrew should have had. We don't know that yet. You might not like this one either. I love how this trailer didn't have anything to do with false Spider-Man marketing. Shows the movie knows what it is.
Man, that was one of the big problems with the Madam Web. Like everything in Madam Web was about, look, everybody, this is connected to Spider-Man. Like everything in the damn trailer was about, look how closely this is connected to Spider-Man, everyone.
I do hope that in Kraven, they don't even try to make some pathetic link to Spider-Man. I just, at this point, I don't even want them tying Spider-Man to this
wouldn't
world.
mind like a reference or something like that, because the first Venom, right? The first Venom was like, there was nothing to do with Spider-Man. It wasn't until Venom 2 that's like, oh, look at that guy, like sort of thing. I wouldn't mind a little reference here, but like Madam Web, like everything was just so desperate to be associated with Spider-Man. And so far, at least, like honestly, if you didn't know anything about Kraven the Hunter, you were just watching these trailers, you would have no clue there was any connection between Kraven and Spider-Man. And that's how they should be handling it right now. So we'll see if they follow that through. All right, what's next?
Ty Talks TV says, have you ever thought of joining Discord and making a page as a way for your viewers to become friends and expand? There is a Discord.
Well, I mean, we did
really
do a Discord.
anymore.
We shut it down, I think. We did try Discord for a little while, but honestly, there wasn't enough participation, and it was just too much to maintain it and to moderate it and all that kind of stuff. And reality is we have an open chat forum. It's the comments section in our videos where people can come and chat and talk and stuff like that. So I'll be honest with you, at this point, I've zero interest in Discord. No interest in Discord at all. All right, what's next?
Suthia says, one thing Feige does well is slowly sprinkling in certain ideas, concepts to where they become crucial for story. He did it with time travel, and now he's doing it with multiverse to the point where we'll have an entire movie taking place in another universe.
I wouldn't list that amongst Kevin Feige's wins. I love Kevin Feige. You know me, I'm a big Kevin Feige guy, but I would not list multiverse. I agree with that scene in Deadpool. Multiverse has been a big loss, has been a big L for Marvel at this point. I'm just glad they're going to wrap it up finally with Secret Wars, and we can move on and get to some much better storytelling. At least that's me. But in principle, Feige's been very good at that, peppering in story ideas that then come to fruition later. But the multiverse stuff has just been a gobbledygook mess. Yeah, it's been terrible.
I wouldn't have minded if it was like they indulged in it for like a film, or it had some little small aspect, but make it the multiverse saga. It's just like it's become so muddled now.
Yeah, it's just muddled, too inside baseball. Just been now again, that's not to say that there have not been good elements and good things and good moments. For sure there have. But I just think overall it's been a big miss. All right, what's next?
Benji the Husky says, over the weekend I went to watch Blake Lively's It Ends With Us at a local bistro theater, and the place was packed. Later I checked that the movie made 50 opening. Many superhero movies don't even make this opening weekend. What are your thoughts?
We talked about it yesterday. I think it's huge. I mean, it's a big deal. First of all, it's based on a relatively popular book, so they had a little bit of a built-in audience. Blake Lively is, kind of become a darling for a lot of people, and she's fabulous. Well, I love Blake Lively. So, I mean, good for them. And once again, little info fact is kind of interesting. With Deadpool coming in at number 1 at the box office, and It Ends With Us coming in at number 2, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively become the first husband-wife duo to top the top 2 spots at the box office in 34 years. So good on them, and congrats to them for that. All right, what's next?
Lord Pistachio says, hi, John, do you think that the OG Alien is plagiarism? The 1 year earlier Norwegian 3 episodes TV series.
I'm just going to cut it off there. Everything made in creation, you go, hey, wait a minute, this has certain similarities to that. And listen, if the thing you're talking about came out 1 year earlier, do you know how long it takes to make movies? That means they would have been in production, or been at least a pre-production of Alien long before that thing ever came out. So no, I don't think it's plagiarism, and I don't even like addressing those kinds of questions.
But it's such a inside, this particular little bit of information.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
Raymond Verada says Disney Parks has been trying to dismiss a wrongful death lawsuit on the basis that the plaintiff has described to Disney Plus, which states that any lawsuit brought against them should be settled through arbitration. His wife died from food allergies at the park.
I don't know if that's true. I've not seen that story. I don't think subscribing to a television thing. Let's put it this way. There's no court in the land that would uphold your agreement to subscribing to a television streaming service would hold a company without liability for poisoning without proper notification their thing. So I would have to read the full story to get the actual implications of it. But as you're presenting it, there's no way that holds up in court. There's just no way it does. Yeah. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, did you see the latest Rings of Power trailer that they debuted this morning? It's their official trailer. And oh my God, since the SDCC trailer, I am so hyped. Maybe this will finally be the Lord of the Rings show I was looking forward to 2 years ago.
Again, a good trailer is a good trailer. That doesn't mean the show will be good. But like we talked earlier, I am with you in the sense that these two trailers, the Comic-Con one and the one that dropped this morning, have reinvested my interest. I'm now interested in season 2, which I was not before. So here's hoping the season can live up even 60% of what these trailers are promising. We'll see. All right, what's next?
Tron says, so what Rhino look do you prefer, mechanical suit or the Amazing Spider-Man 2, or from the Amazing Spider-Man 2, or the Kraven trailer? A big Russian guy getting stuck in a Rhino costume would look too goofy in live action, in my opinion. Also, Kraven trailer looked decent.
Oh, well, I mean, the Rhino in this trailer looked way better than what they were trying to do with Paul Giamatti in a big robot suit. I mean, now, how well does it actually play out in the movie? I mean, the trailer looked good, but that was just a quick little glimpse. How well does it play out in the movie? We'll find out. But just in principle, it's a way better idea than Paul Giamatti getting his pants ripped down in a giant Rhino suit. Yeah. All right, what's next?
Dennis the Phantom Menace says, excited for Alien Romulus. Saw A Quiet Place Day 1 last month. It makes me wonder, John, which of these two alien species do you consider deadlier? The Death Angels, A Quiet Place, or Xenomorphs?
Probably the Xenomorphs. I mean,
they can find you even if you're being quiet.
Yeah, I mean, like, just, again, it all depends on who writes it. If A Quiet Place writers write it, the Quiet Place monsters win. If Aliens writers write it, the aliens win. For me, I think the Xenomorphs win because, like, what's the Quiet Place monsters going to do? Like, seriously, what are they going to do? You're going to go bite the alien? Hey, good on you. Now it's acid blood kills you. So, I mean, yeah. So to me, it's the Xenomorphs. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the monsters in A Quiet Place. They're great. But yeah, if a horde of aliens went up against a horde of the Quiet Place monsters, it'd be a pretty short fight. I think the Xenomorphs win that pretty handily. All right, what's next?
Wesley Cunningham says, so how deep in it is Sony with their Marvel IP? Kraven trailers are dope, but so is Morbius. Kraven doesn't even follow up that film, but a shockingly bad Madam Web. Production and marketing already spent, and will anyone trust enough to see it?
I don't know.
That's the question.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know if people are going to go see it. I have my doubts about what its financial viability is. But here's the important thing. The important thing is it good? Because if it's good, while it may still not make a lot of money, it can start the process of rehabilitating the image that has been so badly beaten and battered with Morbius and Madam Web. So I would almost say it's more important for this movie to be good because that could lay the foundation for future success with other movies rather than it making money now but still being bad, which will kill the prospects of other movies. So yeah, I have my doubts about how many people are going to go to see this, but that's not the important thing. The important thing here for this one is that it's good and start to rehabilitate that image and change the conversation. All right, what's next?
Chief Keith says, hey, John and crew, regarding The Last of Us Season 2, 3, and beyond, do you think we will get both sides of Seattle, or will they end Season 1 with the theater scene and continue Abby's story in Season 3? Thanks, Bring on the Filthy.
Well, they've already said that the Season 2 and 3 are both going to be based on the second game, whereas Season 1 was Game 1. They're not doing Season 2, Game 2. They're splitting that up. So this is going to be prolonged. They're going to make more changes and stuff like that. And I suspect we're going to see them take even more liberties with the second season than they did with the first, which is totally fine by me, because every time they took liberties with the first season, it improved the story. So if they can continue to do that, marvelous. All right, what's next?
We got, let's see. Matan says, Gunn's comment about not surrounding himself with yes men is a good way to fix Disney, as too much stuff in Disney recently is approved by yes men, like story decisions in The Acolyte. Toy Story 5, well, we haven't seen that yet. Or the rotten member berries that is RDJ as Doom.
I'm not even going to address that. Like, there's so
How
much
would
in
you
that
know
statement
there's
that is so, yeah, that is such a ridiculous comment. That's such a ridiculous statement. Trying to make commentary on things you know nothing about and haven't seen yet or anything like that. And that is not how Lucasfilm, like, if anything, people complain that the quality issues at Lucasfilm is the actual opposite of Yes Men. It's the fact that everything is done by massive committee. And that's the problem, which is fundamentally the opposite of Yes Men. So it's such a ridiculous comment that we're just going to move on. What's next?
Ryan Tribuco says, hey, John, hope you enjoyed those SDCC chocolates from the convention center. Inside Out 2 is crossing the 1.6 billion mark this week. Absolutely insane numbers. Does it have another 60 million worldwide in the tank to overtake Lion King?
I'll be honest with you, Ryan, did not like the chocolates.
Oh, I liked one of them.
Yeah, see, but that's not the chocolate's fault.
Yeah.
So the folks at the San Diego Convention Center were kind enough to give me this great collector's chocolate thing. But here's the problem, and I'm the problem. I like my chocolate. That's it. Maybe some caramel. But like all these chocolate bars, like if you're a chocolate aficionado, you would have loved it, because it was like every single chocolate bar was like some fancy like mixture of things. And I just don't like that stuff. I like chocolate. And with the every once in a while throwing some caramel in that. So there's anyway. No, I don't think Inside Out 2 has the gas tank to get to Lion King. I think it would be great if it does. Because then we can end the, and by the way, it's a stupid position. It is a stupid position to not acknowledge that the Lion King 2019 movie is an animated film. I'm not saying you're stupid if you believe that. We all have stupid things we believe. That doesn't make us all stupid, but it is nonetheless a very idiotic, brain dead position to take, that the 2019 Lion King movie is a live action movie. The entire movie was made in a computer. It's all animated. It's 100% animated movie. But then anyway, that being said, it would be great if Inside Out 2 could overtake it, because then we don't have to have that argument anymore. But I don't think it has the legs to get there. But who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky and it does. All right, what's next?
Mr. I says, yes. Went to the Regal by me and got the Alien Romulus Xenomorph head popcorn bucket. It's small though, not much of a butter delivery system.
That's been my problem with some of these, but like I've got the head pool.
Yeah.
Right.
The floating zombie head Deadpool popcorn bucket. There is really not much room in there to hold popcorn. That's been my problem with these popcorn buckets, is they don't actually seem very big enough to actually hold popcorn. So I think my collectible popcorn bucket buying days are over. I don't think I'm going to buy any more of them.
They missed out. They should have made the twister bucket where it spins the popcorn so all the butter gets in it. I don't know. Sorry.
All right. What's next?
Ryan, the movie guy, says, what's your favorite film score from a film you dislike, or at least underrated score? I love Hans Zimmer's work on Dark Phoenix. Beautiful soundtrack to a film I consider dull. And thanks for the awesome show, guys.
It's a good question, but I have no idea. I don't.
We'd have to think about that.
Yeah,
Like,
I would
what
have
do
to
I hate?
sit
I love
down
that
and
soundtrack.
make notes and think about it and go over films I didn't like and did I like the score. That's honestly not something I keep in my memory. But when I walk out of a movie I didn't like, I don't walk out and go, but how did I feel about the score? Like I generally don't do that. Again, it's a great topic of conversation. It's just that it's not something I walk around with off the top of my head, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know there's definitely scores to movies that I didn't really like, but I listened to music, but I can't think of them right now. But
All right, what's next?
members, people, CJ Reaver says, people say nothing is impossible, but I do nothing every day. Christopher Robin is such an underrated live action Disney gem.
That's the one with Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Why am I?
Ewan McGregor.
Hugh McGregor. I really like that movie. I thought that was a charming night, and I don't think it did anything at the box office, if I remember right. But I thought that was a charming, wonderful little movie. I liked it a lot. All right, what's next?
Okay. Will DLC says finally saw Twisters in 40X. So really enjoyed it. Mara Tierney gives such nostalgia vibes, and I really liked the imagery used in the theater scene with the screen giving way to becoming a window to the chaos outside. Thumbs up. So if it's back in 40X, I'm gonna get a ticket for it.
Yeah, I
I
think
they moved it back in.
I think it is back in 40X,
All right.
and it's definitely worth seeing in 40X.
All
Now,
right.
look, I had a lot of fun with the movie. I enjoy it. I give it a big thumbs up. I had a good time with it. There are some absolutely ridiculous things. Like, for example, there's a scene where somebody's like getting pulled out of the building, like somebody else is holding their hand, or like their whole body's like their whole thing is being pulled out. Meanwhile, there was a piece of wood just sitting on the ground beside them that wasn't getting pulled. Like, there's some like,
Oh, right.
Really weird.
That's the kind of stuff that I don't notice.
yeah, that stuff just, I don't know why,
But I
just
believe
jumps
it.
out to me like crazy. There's some real ridiculousness in the movie, but listen, it's an experience, and I had fun with it, and that's the most important part to me. I thought it was a really fun movie. All right, what's next?
We got Amin who says the Rings of Power trailer was awesome. Felt like a mid-season trailer. The marketing so far has truly been epic. Can't wait. Glad they're dropping 3 episodes on the premiere. Real quick, him saying it felt like a mid-season trailer, that's kind of what scares me, because are the things in this trailer actually not till like the end, and we have to get through all this stuff to get to that payoff.
Well, I mean, remember, it's not like it's a season 1, it's a season 2, which in and of itself is kind of like a mid-season thing, right? So, I mean, but that would be a big fear. Like, what if all this great stuff that we've seen in the Comic-Con trailer, now in this trailer, what if all that is the stuff that starts happening to like episode 6?
Oh yeah, it was the big battles. Like I could definitely say, maybe.
Oh, sure, you can build up to those.
Yeah.
That's fine. But I mean, I don't need big battles. Again, House of the Dragon is at its best, not when there's big battles going on, but when it's the conversations, when it's the drama, when it's the scheming, when it's the Game of Thrones being played. I feel the same way about Lord of the Rings. It's just that, you know, all the good stuff, not just the battles, but all the good stuff, the intense stuff. I hope it's not stuff that we just have to wait till like episode 6 for. All right, what's next?
Okay, we got James says, with James Wan doing Black Lagoon and his friend frequent collaborator Lee Winnell doing Wolfman, Invisible Man, and was at one time developing Invisible Woman, I'm crazy, or am I crazy for thinking this is a Blumhouse atomic monster getting the gang together to give the Dark Universe another crack? With the Universal Park opening, it might be time.
I don't think so. Now, what I did say on the show the other day was Universal's been waiting for ages to breathe new life and get these classic Universal monsters back on the screen. What I don't think they're going to try to do is what they tried to do before, which is to create some kind of, look, we have our own MCU with a big interconnected shared cinematic universe. I think we'll get Wolfman, we'll get Dracula, we'll get, you know, all the other creatures, but I don't think, and I'm not saying I know this, I don't know, I could be wrong. I'm just a fan speculating like everybody else. But what I don't think they're doing is trying to orchestrate a shared cinematic universe. Bring all the monsters back, yes, but I don't think it's for a shared cinematic universe. All right, what's next?
We got Dr. Stinky. Kraven looks good. I did not expect it to have the tone it did. Let's just hope it doesn't turn into Morbius, but this looks way better than the trailers for Morbius.
Listen, don't forget the trailers for Morbius were good. It just turned out to be a bad movie. And that's obviously the fear here. Now, am I interested in this movie? Yes. Do I think it's going to be pretty good? I do. But would I put money on it being good? Like I would have put money on Deadpool being good? No, I will not. Yeah. We'll see. I mean, so what is it now? August, September, October, November. We're 4 months away. 4 months away from seeing it. They are putting it out in that Christmas season, which does suggest they have some faith in it. So we'll find out. All right, last question of the day.
Okay, we got Top Gun Manny. Will the Russo brothers redeem Sunday Brunch Hulk? Give us back this first Avengers Hulk.
I don't know. They don't seem to... Listen, I love Joe and Anthony. I think they're fantastic. What they have done in the MCU, Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame, is like top-level stuff. It's so good. And it's so good because they made a million little great decisions. In the midst of their million little great decisions, they've got one real bad one, which is their overall attitude and approach to Hulk. That was the one thing to me, the big glaring drop ball. Out of a million good things they did, that was the one drop ball. But it seems to come from a place that they just don't seem to see a place for Hulk. And so they did, instead of having Hulk, they created this new character, Professor Hulk. Hawaiian shirt, family picnic Sunday Hulk. With bowl cut sun Hulk. It to me, it just suggests that they just look at Hulk differently than I do. And that's fine. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Like, as long as the movies end up being great, no movie's perfect, and I didn't like the way they handled Hulk. Okay. I like a million other things they did. So do I expect them to redeem their Hulk stuff? No, because I don't think they saw anything wrong with how they did Hulk. And I think they're going to continue down that path. Hope I'm wrong, but we'll see. All right, guys. And that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. And number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. I want to thank the guys in the room with me, Ray Ora.
See you tomorrow.
Jonathan Voiko.
See you guys.
My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.